if you were born and raised in the United States, it's no surprise to hear that over 60% of Americans say that they don't talk to their friends and family about finances and money. But here's something that is surprising. Almost half of the married couples surveyed say that they don't talk to the other spouse about money. I just think that's crazy. I think that's a part of the American culture that hurts us. It doesn't help us. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about why you should definitely talk to your spouse about money. But I think it's also okay to talk to your friends and family about money. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to share with you some advice that a billionaire gave me in my 20s that made all the difference on my financial journey in life, not just financially, but from a quality of life standpoint. So let's jump in and talk about this. Okay, I'm going to start off with spouses not talking to each other about money. If that's you, stop it, and stop it now, please. You need to talk to each other about money and talk about maybe why you're not talking about it, because every family is different, and I don't want to assume why you and your spouse aren't talking about money. But I think it's critically important that you talk to each other about money, and here's why. You know, you probably have many financial goals. You know, for most of us, it's saving up for that first house. It's saving up for our kids' college education. It's saving up for retirement. And if you don't know what that goal is, how can the two of you work together to get towards that goal? And it's important that you have similar goals. And if that means you have to go to a therapist and get on the same page, I think that's money and time extremely well spent. So, you know what your goal is, and if you don't have a plan, I think another place that money is well spent is on getting a plan. I think the best way to do that is to hire a fee-only financial advisor to do it. The sooner you do that, the better. I paid for my first financial plan when I was 22 years old. And it made a huge difference to kind of know, what is the goal? You know, what am I trying to achieve this year? What am I trying to achieve over the next 3 to 5 years? And how do I get there? And just breaking it into bite-sized pieces. And I think it's critical as spouses that you get on the same page. So that's the first thing is talking about spouses. Now I want to talk about, you know, your friends and your network and talking to each other about money, because I think that can be super helpful for one another, and you can each help the other achieve their goals by talking to each other. And before I share my thoughts on that, if you're enjoying this video, I have a favor to ask. As the kids say, thumbs for likes and subs for love. And for me, leave a comment, because that's kind of my currency. That's the rent for these videos. So let's talk about friends. I do think you should talk to your friends about money and finances. And that's kind of faux pas in the United States. I get that, but I really don't think it should be. And while you may not talk, you know, gee, what's your salary and specifics like that, I think at a minimum you want to talk about, you know, what's working in your life. You know, do you have a financial plan? Do you have goals? What's helping you achieve those goals? What things have helped you in your life, and what things have made your life more difficult? Because we can learn from one another. And the other thing is try to find some mentors in life and get past the casual talk. You know, if you can find some people that have been successful in life, maybe even if they're 3 or 5 years ahead of you, they don't have to be like I mentioned at the beginning. I was fortunate enough to have a billionaire kind of mentor me early in my life. And I didn't come from that segment of society. I grew up in a lower income family. Neither of my parents probably ever made more than double of minimum wage. I'm the first person in my family, as far back in the history of time that we know of, that went to college and graduated from college, from my lineage. And even there, I was fortunate. I had a military scholarship. But for that, I wouldn't have been able to afford college. But when you're fortunate enough to find a mentor, and I think there's several types of mentors, right? The people that are 3 to 5 years ahead of you, the people that are 5 to 10 years ahead of you. And if you're fortunate enough to find somebody that's been wildly successful, you can learn a lot from them. But you have to be willing to ask the right types of questions with those people. And as Americans, it can seem rude, really, for us to ask those questions. But I think you're giving up a big opportunity if you don't. And so, just ask them, what were some things that helped you succeed? When you were my age, what do you wish you knew? And what would you do differently? And, a big one is just, what industry that you go into. That makes a big difference. If you're in an industry that's very profitable, that's very stable, it's not subject to a lot of cycles up and down, that can give you stability in your career. And then a lot of times reaching your financial goals is about not having these disasters happen along the way. So choose your industry wisely, choose your skill set wisely. Now, you may have gone to college for one thing, or you may have gone to trade school for one thing, but it doesn't mean that's what you're going to be doing your whole life. My undergrad's in engineering, and I've chosen to spend my life in finance. And that was a great background for me. Now, I needed additional skills, which is why I went to business school. But it was a great background for me. I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. But in today's world, if you're doing something and you're like, I'm kind of stuck in the wrong industry, or my skill set's not valuable enough, you can level up your skill set. And I think one of the ways you do that is you do it by talking to your friends. And again, definitely talk to your spouse and get on the same page with your spouse, because I think that's so important. And with your friends, one way to begin these conversations is just asking them, open questions like, where do you see yourself in the future? What are your goals financially and from a career standpoint? And do you like your industry? And if you were going to change industries, what industry would you change into? Again, industries that have stability, industries that are wildly profitable, I think are a good place to look. And if you need to change your skills, there's different ways to do that. I've got some videos. Just look on my channel for that. Okay, now let me share with you what my billionaire friend, somebody that I'm fortunate to call a friend, told me early in my career. And again, before I get there, if you're enjoying this video, give me a thumbs up for a like. It really does help the algorithm find other people like yourself that this video can help. Subs for love. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you enjoy my videos, think about doing that. And comments for Azul. I really enjoy reading your comments, and I try to reply to at least a dozen, if not a couple dozen, every day. So thanks for leaving comments. Okay, my billionaire friend. Now, first off, he gave me some life advice, which is not financial, and then he also gave me some financial advice, and so I want to share both of those with you. The life advice, and you guys are going to chuckle, but my friend's a good 20, 30 years older than me, and my kids were young at the time, and so his advice was, I wish when I had come home from work every day, I had taken the time to let my kids crawl up on my lap and talk to dad face to face, and squeeze my cheeks and have a conversation with me. And I thought that was kind of unusual advice when I asked him, what would you do differently? I was expecting career advice. But you know what? He was right. I would come home from work, and first thing I'd do is I'd have the girls. I've got two daughters. My oldest just turned 23 earlier this week. But when they were kids, first thing that I would love to do is have them come up on my lap and tell me about their day, and they'd squeeze my cheeks and poke my nose and just be silly like little girls can be, and lots of good memories of that. So that was really, really valuable advice. And the financial advice, and this is kind of indirect, but still really valuable. What he told me was, as a leader in a company, as a manager, don't be who you think you should be. Just be who you are. Be authentic. And we all have our pros and cons. But it's important to be authentic, because people are drawn to authentic people, and they realize we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And the other thing is, focus on your strengths, because that's going to get you further in life than trying to eliminate your weaknesses. At the time I was almost 30 when he was talking to me, and by then your weaknesses are kind of your weaknesses, but you can make your strengths even stronger. So that was the advice that he gave me. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy this video over here, where I talk about the average income that retirees, people over 65, have. In this video down here, 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.